Let's dive into a story that shows just how quickly an ordinary night out, a simple motorcycle ride, can spiral into an absolute nightmare. This isn't just about getting spooked, it's about seeing how a seemingly normal situation can become a desperate fight for your life. So it all kicks off with the scene that feels like it's straight out of a classic horror movie. You've got three friends, our narrator, Suresh, and Ajay, and they're riding through this totally deserted forest. And of course, there's a full moon out, casting these long, creepy shadows. The whole setup is designed to put you on edge right from the very start. And that's the big question hanging in the air, isn't it? When you're in a place this isolated, this eerie, you just know the peace isn't going to last. Let's see what happens when it finally breaks. All right, our first section, A Ride into Darkness. And the subtitle here is The Wrong Turn. This is where one simple decision sends our characters down a path there's no coming back from. You know, the thing that starts this whole nightmare is completely mundane. Ajay and the narrator just need a quick bathroom break, so they pull the bike over. It's just a normal, everyday pause on a road trip. Nothing seems wrong at all. But then, when the narrator and Suresh get back to the bike, Ajay isn't there. They start calling his name, thinking he's just messing around, playing a prank. The narrator even counts to 5, joking that they'll leave him behind. But nothing. Just dead silence. And then that silence is just shattered. A scream rips through the forest. It's Ajay's voice, and it's pure terror. He's yelling, "Bhai bachao," which means, "Brother, save me." In that one instant, they know. This is not a joke. Their friend is in serious, serious trouble. They sprint towards the sound, and that's when they see it. A figure, a woman dressed in a black sari, is dragging Ajay deep into the woods. And the truly terrifying part is her speed. She's moving unnaturally fast, yanking him into the darkness before they can even really process what's happening. Okay, this brings us to our next part, the House of Horrors. Faced with this impossible situation, the narrator and Suresh follow a trail of drag marks and bloodstains, which leads them to this huge, creepy, dilapidated mansion just looming in the middle of the woods. Now this here is a classic horror movie dynamic, right? You've got the believer versus the skeptic. Suresh is instantly terrified, thinking it's something supernatural, a witch or Dayan, and his only instinct is to run. But our narrator, he's trying to find a rational explanation, maybe a psycho killer, and that's what fuels his determination to go in and save his friend. So they step inside, and the place is just a wreck. Dust everywhere, cobwebs, the smell of rot. But the single most ominous thing they see is fresh blood, trickling down the staircase from the second floor. They know Ajay is up there, and they know they're running out of time. As they start moving upstairs, they hear it. One last awful scream from Ajay that's suddenly cut short. The silence that follows is just chilling. And what they find, it's the stuff of nightmares. Ajay's body is there, hanging upside down from the ceiling, but he's completely headless. On to Section 3, the Headless Woman's Demand. Just when you think it can't get any more horrifying, it does. Because even though they're looking at Ajay's headless body, they hear his voice, crying for help from another room. It's an impossible, terrifying lure, drawing them closer to whatever evil is in this house. So very cautiously, they go into that room. And in the far corner, they see her, the woman in the black sari, just sitting there with her back to them. It's dead quiet, except for Ajay's voice, which seems to be coming from her, still begging them to save him. And as this figure slowly starts to turn around, they see the impossible. She doesn't have a head. What she has is Ajay's severed head, which she's holding in her hands, and it's still talking. Then, in this absolutely grotesque display of power, she lifts Ajay's head and places it onto her own neck. And it fits. It just fits. She smiles at them with Ajay's face and gives them a chilling order. "Bring me my head, or I will take yours." The two of them just bolt. They run in pure terror, but the ghost's influence goes beyond the walls of that house. The narrator realizes Suresh isn't with him anymore. He turns around and sees Suresh walking like he's in a trance, hypnotized, heading right back to the mansion. The narrator tries to stop him, but it's no use. Suresh walks inside, picks up a knife, and decapitates himself. This brings us to part 4, unraveling a grisly past. Our narrator is now completely alone and trapped. He knows survival means he has to obey the ghost, and to find her head, he first has to learn her story. So, the ghost tells him her tragic story. She and her husband were just on vacation here. 3 drunk men showed up and attacked her. Her husband came back and tried to save her, but they killed him. Then, they murdered her. And in one final horrible act, they cut off her head, buried her body, but took the head with them, trapping her spirit here in rage and torment. But in the middle of all this horror, the ghost gives him one seemingly random detail. As she was dying, she heard her killers talking about frying fish. This little piece of information, this is the one crucial clue that his entire survival now depends on. And now we're at the final section, a desperate escape. This is where the story completely shifts. It's no longer just about running from a ghost. It's about using logic to solve a murder mystery, to save his own neck. You can almost see the gears turning in the narrator's head as he pieces it all together. Okay, her husband only caught 1 fish. That's not enough to feed 3 guys. They were talking about frying fish, so they needed more. Where's the logical place to get more fish? The pond nearby. He makes the leap. The killer must have taken her head to the pond and just tossed it in. He runs to the pond, and after hours of desperately searching in the murky water, his hands finally close around a human skull. He found it. He then goes and digs up her skeleton from under the banyan tree, places the skull with the rest of her bones, and performs a makeshift cremation, finally reuniting them. As the bones burn, the ghost's spirit is finally set free. He watches it ascend into the sky, and just like that, the curse is broken. The narrator doesn't wait around. He runs from that house, he flees that forest, and he makes a promise to himself to never, ever come back. So, he survived. He got away. But that leads us to the real chilling question of the story, the one that sticks with you long after it's over. After seeing what he saw, after losing his friends in such a brutal way, can you ever really escape something like that? Or does a piece of you stay behind in that dark forest forever?